Our hometown of Fredericton is well known for its brewery scene, but not many are aware that alcoholic cider making, in its current form in New Brunswick, originated in the capital city just a few years ago. About 60,000 New Brunswickers reside in Fredericton, whose urban population is divided by the St. John River flowing between the north and south sides. Today's subject, Red Rover, has deep ties to both sides of the city.
Hi, today we're at Red Rover Brewing Company's Cider Works facility on Hanwell Road in Fredericton.
We've been big fans of Red Rover Brewing since they first opened years ago, and we're friends with the owners, Adam and Nicola, so we're really excited to bring you their story today.
My name is Adam Claulson and I'm the owner and operator of Red Rover. I am from Leeds in the UK originally, and now for the last over a decade from Fredericton. Myself and my partner Nicola, who founded Red Rover, moved to New Brunswick because I got a contract working at the University of New Brunswick developing replacement hands for amputees. We had always loved cider from being in the UK. One of the largest producers and consumers of cider is England. And when we came to Canada and to New Brunswick, we were really surprised that there wasn't any available in the liquor corporation. So we started making it for ourselves. And when my contract came to an end, instead of moving away, we'd fallen in love with the province so much and with Fredericton that we wanted to stay. But we wanted to do one better as well. We wanted to work together, which sometimes works. And that's how Red Rover was born. It was born out of love for a product and for each other.
My name's Nicola Mason. I'm the cider maker here at Red Rover. I moved to New Brunswick about 12 or 13 years ago from England. I grew up there in Newcastle. I enjoy making cider and I enjoy a lot of the other challenges that come with my job, but running a small business can be both draining and rewarding.
Well, there's lots of different challenges and hurdles that we had to go through. We actually founded Red Rover in 2012, but we didn't actually have the ability to sell anything until 2014. In those couple of years, what we were doing there was trying to push policy forwards. Because no one had really done this since the corporation had been created, there was really no policies in place for craft cider in New Brunswick. So we had to work with the corporations and with different branches of the government to even be able to sell a wine product, which is what cider is classified as, in kegs and also in bottle formats. The bottle format and the markup structure for craft cider actually came later in 2016.
When we first opened Red Rover, the farmers market was one of the only places that we could sell our products outside of our tap room, which was difficult for some customers to find. And at the time, we weren't available at NB liquor stores, so it was a great place for people who didn't have time to come on an evening to kind of pick up their cider at the same time as they were shopping for other things at the market.
Cider is very similar to wine in the process, has a few different steps, but essentially you crush the apples that you want to produce the cider from, you make an apple juice from that. You then have to neutralize any of the yeasts that are in it if you want to control the way that it's produced. Then you do a cold ferment on it, and what I mean by that is if you do a faster hot ferment, you'll get a lot of alcohol notes out, but we do a cold one, which is more of an English style, and that gives you a really smooth flavor, but simultaneously a high alcohol content. You have to chaptalize it to give the yeast a good chance to start, and then you do an initial rack between 2 and 3 weeks after, and then you do an additional rack around 2 months after. And after you've done that, you filter it out, and then we do a forced carbonation on it, which means that we carbonate it up in a tank, and then we filter it again, and we put it into the package. Normally, for most of our ciders, it's around 3 months, but we do have some that we've been working on for closing in on 5 years. So like the Brute that we released last year, that was a 4-year-old cider. We have some more that will be coming out over the next few years that's even older.
Probably the biggest difference between a local craft cidery and a macro like multinational cider conglomerate is the type of ingredients used. So we use 100% fresh pressed juice, and a lot of really, really big companies will take a juice concentrate and then dilute it with water to get the right amount of sugar in their apple juice and then ferment that instead. It's not about quality, it's just that the ingredient is different.
So Coastliner was actually named after the bus that myself and my dad used to get when I went to college with him back in England. My dad never drank anything in terms of beer. He always drank ciders and wines. It was a tribute to him, and it was designed as a lower alcohol cider that's a little bit more playful. It's a single variety. We spent almost 2 years with probably closing in on about 40 different types of yeast until we found the strain that we wanted to. That one uses specifically Macintosh apples and a very unique house yeast that we developed. It gives a very different flavor profile to any of our Red Rovers. It's very clean, it's very crisp. Every time that we changed any policies, we didn't really want to change them as exceptions. We wanted to change them for the better. My mentality is that, you know, if you're going to make an impact on the world, then you should make an impact for everybody, not just for yourself, because the things that you change are the things that actually stay. So every time that we made a strive in a different sector, we always wanted to do it in a way that it would give the ability for other cider makers. It's been a bit of a struggle for cider compared to beer and other things, and that's why there's been less cideries open than breweries, but we're still working on it. But yeah, I think that if it hadn't been for us, there wouldn't have been any kegged cider in New Brunswick, and there may not have been any cider on the shelves that was actually made in New Brunswick. So our plans for the future is we hoped to carry on growing Red Rover and carry on growing cider in New Brunswick, and possibly at some point in time actually move our production to a farm location so we can start growing our own specific varieties, but also sharing the production and the experience of creating cider products with a greater audience in a really nice environment. So my daughter has been here pretty much since day one of her birth, literally day 3 of her life. She actually came to production before she went home. We're creating something that we want to pass down, something where she will never know anything else than really being part of a family company, which is Red Rover. She is getting a whole trust fund of alcohol. We tend to put away a couple of different ones for her, but we have a couple of cases from the week that she was born that will be her birthday.
Not a college fund, but a bottle fund.
A bottle fund. At least you can get the refund on it then. So cider was something that we'd made a little bit at home. We definitely wouldn't say that we were one of those avid home brewers of cider, but with a science background of both myself and my partner, we really saw this as a project, and we went very deep into the science and the knowledge that mostly comes out of the UK and a little bit out of France, a little bit out of Spain in terms of the different regions of cider. And the nice thing about cider, unlike beer and wine, because it's so old, it's been almost forgotten and it's being re-envisioned right now. This is really the gold rush period of cider compared to, most people think craft beer is one of those things that's actually really exploding right now. There's a lot of industry behind beer. Beer never really went away during the prohibitions around the world. But because cider did, a lot of the knowledge disappeared, so we're really creating brand new, exciting products that have never really seen the light of day before.
As we learned today, while most people have their eye on the growing craft beer industry in New Brunswick, the cider industry is also really taking off too.
And it was really cool to learn about how apples grown in different areas will affect the types of cider that are produced in those areas. We hope you learned just as much as we did. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.